You all ready? Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. We're getting started just a couple of minutes late, but I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Seminole County School Board regular meeting at 5:33 p.m. Tonight's invocation and pledge will be led by Member Almond.
Thank you. I found this on leadingedgeparenting.com. As the new school year quickly approaches, many parents feel a knot in their stomach as they begin to worry about the challenges their children will face. While many successful people were top students, there are famous, intelligent, creative folks who struggled with the demands of school. They became some of the most gifted and talented people the world has known. Thomas Edison, brilliant scientist and inventor, was thrown out of school at age 12 because he was terrible at math and unable to focus. His teacher said he was too stupid to learn anything. Pablo Picasso, whose paintings sell for millions of dollars, had a difficult time in school and was labeled dyslexic. Winston Churchill, England's famous prime minister, had to repeat a grade in elementary school. Albert Einstein did not speak until he was 4 and could not read until he was 7. One of his teachers described him as mentally slow, unsociable, and adrift forever in foolish dreams. Stephen Jobs did not care about school until the 4th grade teacher bribed him to do his work. She used candy and money as a reward. He was bullied as a kid. And for anyone who has enjoyed the wonders of a day at Disney World, this one is particularly interesting. A newspaper editor fired a young man named Walt Disney because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. I often wonder what it would be like to be their parent. Did they worry about their kids? Probably. What can you learn from this? Even some of the most genius folks in the history of the world struggled in school. So as you feel that knot in your stomach, remind yourself that even though you want your children to meet their responsibilities and sometimes they fall short, it does not mean that they will miss the mark. Remember to shine a light on their unique gifts and talents as you take a deep breath and envision them growing into happy, successful adults. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
Flag of the United States of America and let the record reflect that all school board members are in attendance this evening. I have 2 forms for acknowledgement. Bobby Aganina from Lake Howell High School and also a candidate for Seminole County School Board, and Christine Kraus, candidate for Seminole County School Board. Thank you for being here tonight. Dr. Griffin, do we have any agenda modifications?
Just one. The addendum for good cause is marked on an electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item.
School board members, tonight's rotation, Mrs. Sanchez, you are first, followed by Dr. Calderon, and then Mrs. Almond. Do you have anything for removal?
No modifications, thank you.
All right. The only 2 things that I have for clarifying questions, if we want to appoint one of us to serve on, there are 2 different RFPs, I and J, so we'll just go ahead and pull those for clarification later on. And could I have a motion to approve the agenda outline?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we have presentations.
We do. Mr. Carnes, if you can start working your way to the microphone, we'll get started with our Veteran of the Month.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin, Mrs. Lockhart, board members. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce to you our Veteran of the Month. And this month, we have for us Mr. Octavius Clark, Aki Clark, from Winter Springs High School. Mr. Gaffney, who couldn't be here tonight, writes that Mr. Clark served in the United States Navy aboard the USS Enterprise from 1979 to 1982. In 1993, he joined the United States Air Force Reserve, where he served for 28 years. During that time, Mr. Clark served with the Southeast Air Defense Sector, which was responsible for guarding the skies of America after September 11, 2011. Mr. Clark did 2 tours of duty in Iraq and 1 tour of duty in Afghanistan. He was a recipient of the Air Force Accommodation Medal and Meritorious Service Medal and had 32 years of devoted service to our country. Mr. Clark has served Seminole County Public Schools for the last 21 years, all at Winter Springs High School. Mr. Clark has served as a social studies teacher for his first 5 years and has served as the Winter Springs High School dean for the last 16 years. Mr. Clark has also served as the Winter Springs High School head cross-country coach, and a very successful coach at that, and as a track and field coach during his time in Winter Springs. Mr. Clark is such an influential teacher, mentor, and coach to the Winter Springs High School community. We are all proud to have Mr. Clark honored and celebrated tonight. He is a worthy recipient of the Veteran of the Month Award for Seminole County Public Schools. Mr. Clark, congratulations.
Dr. Griffin, Mrs. Lockhart, and board members, it is my privilege to recognize 3 outstanding members of our high school teams. First of all, from Hagerty High School, Athletic Director Mr. Jay Getty, who recently was voted Seminole County Breakfast of Champions Athletic Director of the Year. Coach Getty served as Assistant Athletic Director at Oviedo, along with Athletic Director responsibilities, then again at Hagerty as Assistant Athletic Director and eventually Athletic Director. He led Oviedo twice in 2002 and 2003 to the FHSAA Floyd E. Lay All-Sports Program Championship. He was Hagerty High School Teacher of the Year in 2010, NHSACA National Coach of the Year finalist for cross country in 2017, and as I mentioned, Seminole County Breakfast of Champions Athletic Director of the Year for 2018, Jay Getty. With him also is Principal of Hagerty High School, Dr. Mary Williams. Next, from Lake Mary High School, is my honor to recognize girls golf coach Dennis Burchill. Coach Burchill began coaching at Lake Mary High School in 2010 as assistant golf coach for the boys team and became head girls golf coach in 2011. Listen to this. He won 7 straight conference championships, 7 straight district championships, and 5 regional championships. In 2014, they were the FHSAA 3A state runner-up, but in 2012, 2015, 2016, and 2017, they were the FHSAA Girls 3A state champions. He also serves as assistant baseball coach. Some of his recognitions: he is 7-time Seminole Athletic Conference Girls Coach of the Year, 3-time Florida Dairy Farmers entire state of Florida Girls Coach of the Year in 2012, 16, and 17. He's also been the 3A Girls Coach of the Year in 2015. He was the FHSAA Sectional Girls Coach of the Year in 2016 and 17. He was recently named Seminole County Breakfast of Champions Coach of the Year for all sports in 2018 and All USA Today National Girls Golf Coach of the Year for 2018. With him in the audience, Athletic Director, Lake Mary High School, Doug Peters, and Principal, Lake Mary High School, Dr. Mickey Reynolds. And now introducing our newest high school administrator, Assistant Principal, Crooms Academy, Mariette Hero. Mariette completed her BA in History, her MA in Social Studies Education, and most recently she completed her Core Modified Ed Leadership Program at UCF. She was fortunate enough to attend and complete the UF Instructional Coaching Institute in 2015. She created and led the new teacher program at Lyman High School from 2012 to 2018, and served as the Social Studies Department Chair, Instructional Coach, Learning Coach, and Blended Program Coordinator at Lyman. With her tonight, her mom, Marguerite, her daughters, Mia and Mila, and the principal at Crooms Academy, Dr. Brandon Hanshaw.
Dr. Griffin, Chairman Lockhart, and school board members, I am proud to present to you Dr. Craig Johnson, the new principal of Indian Trails Middle School. Dr. Johnson has been a proud member of the Seminole County Public Schools family for the past 11 years, working as a teacher, dean, assistant principal, and now principal. Working at both the middle and high school levels, Dr. Johnson is excited to be joining the ITMS community and is looking forward to a rewarding and exciting school year. Joining him tonight is his wife, Catherine Murrow, and his former principal at Greenwood Lakes Middle School, Breezy Erickson, and assistant principal, Rendon Fletcher.
Board members and Dr. Griffin, good evening. We have two new administrators joining the ePathways team. I'm very honored to welcome these outstanding women to Seminole County Public Schools. I want to begin by introducing you to Faith Whittingham. Faith joins us as a program facilitator. Her educational background includes a Bachelor's of Science degree in Industrial Engineering and Operations Research from Cornell University, and then she crossed the country and earned an Operations Research Master's degree at Stanford, and then back to Cornell University for an MBA. In her professional career, she worked as an engineer for General Motors and AT&T, as well as two local firms before moving to education. And she was most recently the lead instructor in a Project Lead the Way Academy in Orange County. So we're very excited to have her on board. And I am equally excited to introduce another program facilitator on the ePathways team, Griselle Figueroa. Griselle holds bachelor's and master's degrees from the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico and has completed educational leadership coursework at the University of South Florida and Grand Canyon University. She has been a teacher of business at the middle school, high school, and college levels for the last 20 years, including both face-to-face and virtually. And she spent the last 5 years in leadership in Osceola County, 3 years as a curriculum specialist, and 2 years as a tech center administrator before joining us in Seminole. And she is here tonight with her husband, Raul, and daughter, Ariana, and her niece, Valeria.
Board members, I've asked the executive directors to give a little first day update. You were at most of the schools, so.
So elementary schools all opened successfully on Friday. Because we have 37 schools, our cabinet members all take a few so that we can visit every single school on opening day, and I know some of you were able to go as well. We had the first day little issues with phones and AC and that kind of thing, but I have to say our folks at the district really responded quickly and were able to get things rocking and rolling the first day. We have very few teacher openings across the district, a few here and there, but not too many. And I would have to say that it was very obvious that new safety measures are in place in almost every school in one way or the other, and that safety was a very strong message, I think, sent to parents and people in the community. We had our dismissal challenges, but they were resolved. First day is always usually a hard day. A lot of parents want to drop their kids off and pick them up instead of putting them on the bus. So we had some long lines, but we've resolved those, and we're working on them. We had a lot of PD over the summer, and so our teachers were well prepared, and they were in their classrooms. The classrooms looked beautiful, and teachers were in there working with kids, team building, and already working on establishing positive learning for the rest of the year. So we're very happy about that. Our new magnet schools on the first day and the second day, our 3 schools received between 500 and 600 laptops and computers, so we are really moving along with implementing those new programs at those schools, and teachers and principals and administrators are really working hard on that. Dr. Cummings.
Just to add an update regarding Kid Zone, our enrollment is a little over 3,700 currently. We have waiting list at probably, I'm guesstimating, approximately 70% of our schools due to late registration. So we're in the process of hiring more staff, and the extended day staff is continuing to interview. So those numbers should rise, and of course, we'll give you an update later. We currently have 873 students enrolled in our VPK programs throughout the county. I've been visiting those classrooms, and things are going great. Also like to give a shout out to the board members for joining us first day visit, because every elementary school was visited on the first day, as well as the Early Learning Center. So thank you very much, board members.
Good evening. This year was a very exciting first day of middle school for me, as it was my first time back on a middle school campus in 11 years. So it was very nice to go back and relive those days of seeing the 6th graders being excited about being on the large campuses and seeing the 7th and 8th graders be the big men on campus. So it was very exciting being back there. We visit 9 of the 12 middle schools with board members, Almond and Calderon. I also finished visiting the other campuses this week. We started ringing the bell at the new Millennium Middle School campus, which is absolutely gorgeous. The staff is very excited to be there in those great learning environments. We also got to see the new restaurant at Sanford Middle School, which is incredibly beautiful and a nice addition to that campus. There were, as in elementary school, some challenges with dismissal, but all of our students made it home. So that was a great thing.
Good evening. I had the privilege of going to all of the high schools on Friday with Dr. Griffin and Mrs. Lockhart, Captain Francis. And I'd like to say that we were on schedule the entire time, which was hard because Captain Francis was checking all the locks, doors, and gates. But all of the high schools were running as if it was the 101st day, to be honest with you, and not just the first day. No major issues have been reported. And honestly, at a lot of the high schools, very few minor issues have been reported. We saw teachers, which I thought was a unique opportunity for a Friday start, taking the chance to do relationship building activities with students, which I thought was a unique idea considering you had Friday and then you had a 2-day weekend to kind of break the ice. The campuses looked immaculate, thanks to Mr. Rinaldi and the facilities team. It was reported that all the lunches went well, which is always a big issue at large high schools. Right now, we only have 1 school that we're looking at as far as class size goes. All the schools look like they are going to be in class size and have made class size already, which is pretty amazing. So we're very happy with that. But overall, the high schools had a very, very smooth opening day, and we enjoyed going around to seeing all the students on the first day.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Griffin. This was a great first day for me, starting out the morning as a parent and doing the visit to kindergarten. It was so organized and well done wearing the parent hat. And then to head out, and Dr. Cummings and Dr. Dellinger are always very kind to allow me to visit some of their elementary schools, and it was just a tremendous first day. And I'll echo Mr. Gaudreau's sentiments with the thank yous to facilities. All of the principals, had little things happen during that pre-planned week when teachers are back, and those facilities teams just knocked out all of those issues so that you didn't really know it was the first day. So tremendous effort, and they were all grateful for the additional support. And then, like some of you, I had an opportunity to drop by Sci High toward the end of the day. And Dr. Griffin, it was very exciting to see your vision happening, to stand in the middle of that room and just go in a complete 360-degree circle and see very unique things happening with each student. And just as at our other schools, there were new skills being learned on that first day, and students were so excited to be there and with so much energy. And then, of course, my last stop was at Seminole County Virtual School, so a little bit different because not a lot of students on the campus. And that school is unique because we never really know how many students are going to enroll on the first day. Course requests coming in. We have a new elementary curriculum that's rolling out. The initial reaction from parents is positive with that curriculum. And, of course, the staff busy getting students into their classes in middle and high school. So a great first day from the ePathways perspective. Thank you.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Griffin. I had a great first day of school. My morning started off over at Endeavor Hopper. As you know, we've combined both campuses. It was beautiful. I am just so amazed that facilities was able to get it done. It looked clean, good. The kids were smiling. They all were happy to be there and excited. The rooms were painted. The carpet was down for the Hopper students. It was absolutely gorgeous. And the teachers were right on point, getting, just talking about procedures and starting in reading and all of those first day of school reading and all of that. That was really, really awesome. Went over on the other upper house side. Students were engaged. Little confusion about first day for some of them, but that we had a little bit of low numbers. Then again, there was a confusion last year and the year before and the year before that about the start date. But anyway, it started out great. And then I was one of the members that got to visit elementary schools. Now, I'm a secondary person for the most part, but I do elementary as ESE. And it's one of my favorite things to do is walk into pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, because the kids just walk up to you and hug you. They want to know who you are. And I walked through so many classrooms. Spring Lake was just beautiful, painted the whole school inside. Whole field climate was beautiful. All the schools were ready and gearing up and ready to go. It was a lot of fun. Now, we're looking at our ESE numbers the last 2 days, looking at the self-contained classrooms. We had a few surprises of students enrolling last minute. We always do. And just looking at our whites in the eyes for the other classroom, because as you know, Seminole County is proud that we have 86% of our students that are in the least restrictive environment and included. So we look at all of our numbers and wait for the DNE before we go ahead and readjust some staff or deploy other folks out there for support. So we're looking very good. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
Board members, when Dr. Walsh at D&E, those students that did not enroll, they're still on the roster, so sometimes the class sizes appear larger than they are compared to physical bodies. But that's probably the biggest work that's going on. I was at Seminole this morning. They have still a handful of classes to balance out. We still have some classes that are large and small, but as a former master scheduler, third day, we're doing very well.
All right. So those two items, one for painting contracting services and the other for electrical contracting services, unless one of you has a burning desire to serve on either of those?
I'm on an RFP right now, sorry.
Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and we'll pass on that, and I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
And second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right.
There are none? But they're coming.
Little reprieve, reprieve. I only have two folks that have filled out forms for public comment. If you are here tonight and would like to address the board, there are forms on the back table. If you want to fill those out and give them to our clerk, Ms. Moramis. I have Dan Smith and Judy Yang. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, Mr. Smith? I'll just, out of repetition, we'll have Dr. Calderon go ahead and read the public input statement of the meeting.
They've already addressed. I thought they had it memorized. The public input segment of the meeting is provided to allow the public to present specific matters to the school board for its consideration and referral to the superintendent and staff for inquiry and action, or address specific items on the agenda. The public input segment of the meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates or others, student disciplinary actions, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. It's not the intent of the school board to deprive any person of his or her right of freedom of expression. It is, however, the intent of the school board to promote mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct on the part of the members of the public appearing before the school board. You'll be allowed to speak for 3 minutes, and please identify yourself and your address, and we truly appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedules, knowing you were teaching all day, to come and address the board. Thank you. Good evening.
All right. My name is Dan Smith. I am a Seminole County public school employee as well as a citizen. I live at 528 South Longview Place, Longwood, Florida, in Seminole County. I'm tonight, after 3 or 4 days in the classroom with our students, speaking on the mention of lowering class sizes. I continue to be frustrated, if it were, by the class size issue in the schools. I really think that we can do better. Every credible study in education research shows a direct link, lower class sizes, to elevated learning. The charter schools have lower class sizes. Private schools, even the ones that many of the want to go to vouchers, have lower class sizes. That's how they draw them away from us, and I think we can do it here. In the high schools, we still have, I'm a high school teacher, we still have 30-plus students that it's going to remain that way for a long time. We've had drops in the lower 25% this year as well as the last 3 years, and I think we can do something about it by lowering. Now, I've addressed before from time to time. I was a New York City teacher for 10 years before coming to Florida in 2002. And in the pre-computer era, by contract, this New York City system with 1.2 million children had to be at 35 kids by 10 days into the school year. After the first day, 10 school days into it, and they did it. They did it because they hired the teachers pretty quickly. Now, once upon a time when I was on the Seminole Educator Association's bargaining, we had proposed coming closer to this, to hiring teachers. And the result, the answer that we always got frequently was we have to wait till the October FTE, which is 1/4 of the school year. When you start hiring teachers in October, it's not seamless. It's very disruptive, and our students, our high school students, wind up losing a lot of time and information. I would ask you, it seems a little unorthodox, as this is generally Seminole County is a fiscally conservative group. I still think if we hire 20 or 25 extra teachers that maybe we didn't need, I think the children of Seminole County would really appreciate it. It could mean bringing our remedial classes down to 18 instead of up to 25 or 30. I really think it's a good idea, and we haven't had much luck convincing you to do so, but every year, kind of like Charlie Brown kicking the football, I expect that we're going to do it, that we're really going to try to do it. In closing, just simply stating, as you know, cliche, just because you have the right to have a large class size doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do for the children of Seminole County Public Schools. Thank you very much, as always.
Good evening, distinguished board and Dr. Griffin. My name is Judy Ying, and I live at 1992 Canal Road in Deltona, Florida. Proud to be a Seminole County high school science teacher from Lake Howell. I concur with my esteemed colleague about the class size. I have them going from 22 to 31, and there's a big difference between those classes. But what I want to talk to you tonight briefly was I am very excited to start the school year. It's gone very well. I kudos to everybody that had a part in that. But there's a little bit of a cloud hanging over, and that cloud is the end of the quarter testing. And I've talked about this before. Many of the classes in science have to give a mandatory Seminole County generated end of quarter exam. It's only 25 questions, which is not enough to assess 9 weeks worth of material. Even the teachers that have worked on it, when it comes out, they say that it's been changed. Last year, first quarter, there were 25 questions we had to throw out, I think 6 of them, because of the way they were written, the key was all messed up. And so the problem with it, though, is that it puts a strain on all of us to, do we teach the way we think the kids can learn best? Do we give them labs? There are teachers sacrificing labs and experiments in their classrooms because of that almighty test. And this is the county test. I'm not talking about the mandatory EOC biology. That's another story. So I would really like to see us, I don't even know why we have to have it. We have a curriculum map. The department chairs, the APs, they can keep an eye on if we're doing it. We have unit tests that we give. These things can be submitted. But the other problem is that biology EOC, what they've done this year now is instead of the teachers being allowed to have a unit test anytime when they're done with that unit, there is now a mandated 1-week window that they have to get that test in, which means, again, if they have to cut out the labs or the activities, they're going to have to do it. This, in my opinion, first of all, this is going to squash our STEM. How are we going to get kids excited about science if we just have them come in and we just deliver them all this information and not let them get their hands dirty? It's also going to overwhelm our new teachers. We have 4 new science teachers at Lake Howell, and all 4 of them are involved in a mandated test, and they're already freaking out. And I would just like to see, I'd like to see the freedom come back. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
All right, I think maybe follow up with each of us individually.
Yeah, the first, I can address it quickly. Class size, of course, we do meet state class size every year, but we are doing leveling right now. As I said, at Seminole we're doing that. I'm sure the same thing is happening at Lake Brantley. Mr. Smith, what subject do you teach? I'm just curious. What's your largest class? Okay, you know what it is, because that's not part of the core, and we've discussed this before, the elective courses being larger, so I can agenda that for cabinet for discussion. The other about the end of quarter testing, I can agenda that also for further discussion in cabinet. We discussed it at about elementary 2 years ago and made a change.
And also AP classes are not counted in the,
That's right.
right, which is, some of the AP classes will have 40, 45 students, and they have to pass the exam, which is...
We have 40 or 45 students in AP?
In some of the AP classes, yes. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know
I have nothing
from
on
the
the
past
40
we have.
report. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
let's
that's
just
what I
if you
received
could
last
double
year, so we can
that'd
check
be
on that
good, yeah.
maybe.
All right, thank you both very much for addressing us. Have any unfinished business to bring before the board? Or
No, we don't.
New business?
Yeah, we can jump right to the superintendent's report, and included in your report is the monthly grants report that Jamie prepares for us, and a change order.
All right. Any questions about any of those?
No, ma'am.
All right. We'll go ahead and start with committee comments and updates, and Member Sanchez, you're up first tonight.
Oh, okay. All right, first I'd like to thank Mr. Sean Gard-Harold for doing an amazing job. I know it was your leadership, superintendent leadership conference. However, I know that he was behind the scenes creating so much of it and getting us all on the bus.
That's right.
And it was extremely motivative, and we had such a great time. So thank you, Sean. Thank you, Dr. Griffin, for such an amazing conference. Also, I'm not going to name all the different schools because all of us have been, having a great time visiting all the schools, and I had the pleasure of going with Dr. Cody. So thank you, Dr. Cody. We had a great time. And ringing the bell. So that was a lot of fun. We all pretty much did a lot of the same things. My business advisory board meeting went well, and they're doing their campaign and kickoff with the food pantry and summer school supply drive, and they're still continuing it. So you can always go onto the website, onto our foundation page, and see all the school supplies that we possibly still need, or the items that we need in our pantries as well. And I believe that the business advisory board meeting at next one, September 6th, will be the one when they have the end of that drive. The aviation program, unbelievable. The plane, we got to, Dr. Calderon and I were able to see it come in, and it was just the most exciting thing I've ever seen. I just want to actually fly in a plane, which I know we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing mechanical. But it's so exciting to see all the wonderful programs that we're starting with ePathways and everything like that. So Jason, thank you and your team for doing such an amazing job with that. We really appreciate you all. Also want to thank our dividend coordinator, Ms. Mills, for having over 10,000 applicants already turned in for, I think it's now 11,000 if I'm not mistaken, people that have re-registered to be a dividend. Remember, you have to do that on a yearly basis. And also Julie Murphy for doing an amazing job with our buses and getting our students to where they need to. I had an experience at a bus stop a couple days ago, and a little boy didn't know where he was going, and the bus driver, Deborah Peters, over in the Springs, actually got the little boy back on the bus and took care of everything. And it's just, they go over 7 million miles a year, and our bus drivers, they're the first people these children see and the last people they see at the end of the day, and kudos for everything that they do. And I don't think a lot of people realize everything that goes into the classroom and to everything that goes on up here to, our buses and transportation and facilities. So really, I think we're off to a great start. So we have a great team to work with. So thank you. Also, Karen, thank you for the invocation. I was one of those kids. And my mom never told us until the day we graduated college. So we didn't have inclusion. Dr. Walsh knows about that story, but I had learning disabilities, and look where I am now. So believe in every child. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought I
Are
was
you
last.
next? Oh, Dr. Calderon, my bad.
Whatever.
Someone would start
In
talking
addition
eventually.
to the phenomenal leadership conference, Dr. Griffin, thank you. I think most of us also enjoyed the new educators meeting. It was so exciting to look out at Seminole State College in a sea of faces. And what really struck me is I'm used to seeing 21 or 22-year-olds out there, but I would think about 80% of them left another district to come to Seminole by choice. That to me says something, that it's about relationships at the end of the day. And have the enthusiasm in that room, whether it was your first year of teaching or 25th year of teaching, it warmed our hearts to know that those quality educators are going to be teaching our wonderful students. Had the ability to go to CFC Arts. I know, Dr. Griffin, you and I had met with them earlier, but they had their annual kickoff at Northland, and big shout out for Seminole County Public Schools. They are so honored to partner with us this coming year. We had told them that perhaps we need to focus more on students that perhaps can't afford the instrument or afford the private lessons like so many of our children do, and they embraced that thought, and they're going to come in and send professional teachers at Promise schools and provide the instruments and everything. Able to get that creative side like some of our students are yearning to have, not just academics. The bus drivers, I know you talked about it, but I got to go to their kickoff meeting. They should really bottle that energy. When you get in an auditorium, every single bus driver in Seminole County Schools, I've never met with a group of people that are so honored and humbled to have a job than those bus drivers. And they truly care about every single student. And they take it very seriously that they set the tone for the whole day for those children. Wanted to do a shout out for a few thank yous. One to CFE for doing the classroom renovation at English Estates. It was phenomenal. They know how our teachers spend their own money to decorate their rooms and provide for the students who can't do it for themselves, and that was their small token of appreciation. Thank you also to Action Church for the Back to School Bash. They gave out hundreds and hundreds of backpacks and school supplies. Also, Gary Chrysler with Clancy and Thays has adopted Pinecrest this year and delivered cases and cases of school supplies to that school. And wanted to welcome publicly on the Seminole County School side our new president of Seminole State College, Dr. Georgia Lorenz. All of us got to go to her coming out party, so to speak, at the Seminole State College celebration of giving, and it just is exciting to know that we have another president who wants to work collaboratively with the school districts, so we will have a seamless pre-K through 20 because of that. And shout out to Ryan Carpenter, our Eagle Scout recipient, for creating the outdoor classroom at Longwood Elementary, and it was neat that there were so many employees from Longwood Elementary that came on a Saturday. And he was grateful for the support from Seminole County Schools. And if any of you don't have anything to do on the 25th of this month, the zoo is having our annual fundraiser, A Wild Affair. Would love to have you attend. And thank you also to the Seminole Chamber, who has decided for the entire month at every single one of their meetings, they're doing school supply drives. And every one of those meetings, they're getting boxes filled with supplies. So all of that will be going to Tools for Schools. It's nice when the community comes together.
Thank you. For your calendars, the only detail I have is the date for the Youth Summit, Tuesday, November 13th. Ms. Schaffner is still involved in that effort. It's the same day as Teach-In. We may have a work session, and we have National Merit Scholars.
Whoa.
It is what it is. First day of school, in addition to what we all did, I worked the car line at Midway Elementary. Interesting, you know, they're trying to be orderly. They have stop signs, and cars are going wherever they felt they needed to go. But it was very much appreciated. I enjoyed it very much. Casper Jazzercise did a school supply drive for Casper Elementary and English Estates, so thank you to them and Patty Salvatore for that. Casper Chamber had John Rivers from Four Rivers. He told his story. Sue Carson, thank you for inviting us out to welcome your teachers and folks back from their summer break. Appreciate that very much. Oviedo Winter Springs Chamber did put a panel together for the opioid epidemic and how it affects you. And one of the things I learned, which was very frightening, is the risk to our first responders just being in the vicinity of the drugs. They could lose their life. Very scary, because people are making things that are not, you know, legit. And then lastly, Children's Cabinet had a program put on, and it's called My Life, and it was through the Grove. And there were children that were exceptional, who I have known two of over the years. They were, let's just say they were a hot mess in the past. I was so impressed with them. They presented, so impressed with how far they've come. One mainstreamed, who used Endeavor, so much potential there, and they're student leaders, so very proud of them. And that's my report.
It's amazing how much we realize when you go back and you relive it all, how many things that we've done. One of the things that I think was fascinating for us to participate in was the session on restorative practices.
Oh, I love
And the timing of that was really wonderful, and I want to thank everyone that was involved in putting that together. I think it's going to be really great to see as we start to share that information with more of our schools, what restorative practices is, but more importantly, what it is not. And that was one of my biggest takeaways. We actually had one of our SRDs participate in part of that with us, and to just know that how much they want to be involved and understanding how that works. And then just a week or so after, or maybe it was even that same week, the League of Women Voters candidate forum was here that evening, and they asked a question about restorative justice, which was completely the wrong question, but we would not have been able to differentiate and know the difference really in that question had we not just gone through that work session. So the timing was fantastic, and we need to do a very detailed job of making sure that our community understands what restorative practices are and that it is not the same as restorative justice. That was great. That was just my little tidbit there. Looking forward, since we've done a lot of looking backward, looking ahead, this Friday we have the ribbon cutting for the Career Center at Seminole High School. So excited to be able to open that up. A lot of work has gone into that, and it's just a great time for everybody to go and celebrate that. The Wellness Champion kickoff will be next Tuesday. The emphasis on wellness, thank you, Dr. Griffin, and your team for making sure that we have our staff and knowing how important it is, how much we care about their health and their wellness, and that bottom line, we have one pot of money for raises and for insurance, and if everybody can be healthy and well, that helps all of us all across the board. And then the Friday after, on the 24th, I'll be at the Seminole County Foundation General Board meeting, and so that I'll have a report for you after that. All right. Is there anything else?
Couple of things, Ms. Lockhart. First of all, board members, a big thank you from the bus drivers for the tumblers. They really, really liked those and the water, and thanks to Centricare and Cigna for supplying those. Today, Chancellor Lyons was here to visit. I just wanted to tell you 4 quick things. Blown away by the vocational career and technical opportunities in Seminole County. He realized that when he saw it, I don't think he could believe it. He interacted with every classroom that we went in. He said the teachers, the morale, they're just pumped. And we just went in classes at random, and it was great to see him experience that energy. He could not believe dining services when he saw the unlimited vegetables and fruits for the students. And you know how colorful it is. We're in the cafeteria and the restaurant at Longwood, and they were just laid out. It was a beautiful sight. And most of all, I'm very, very impressed. He had his new director of safety. I had Captain Francis with us. Very impressed with your commitment and investment to student safety all these years. So it was a great visit.
With that, we'll adjourn at 6:20.